Oh, cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake, crazy old cheesecake. My girl loves cheesecake, she's crazy all the time. When I bring her cheesecake, she treats me mighty fine. Cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake, munching on the cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake. Cheesecake, cheesecake, gobble gobble, cheesecake, crazy over cheesecake. Take it there, money.
Cheesecake. That's right. Louis is munching on the cheesecake, which I'm sure he did back then. Oh boy, we could talk about that. I'm sure Louis had the munchies. There's actually a weird story about Louis Armstrong. This is a thing. Drugs are not a new thing. There's actually a story about Louis Armstrong sharing marijuana with Bing Crosby, and as weird as that could possibly seem, yeah, I don't know. Anyway, welcome to Riser's Treasure Hunting Emporium's live stream. Yeah, gang, that's right, live. And just when you thought Riser had the desk cleared and cleaned, and no, we are just jam-packed with stuff tonight. Anyway, gang, welcome, and we'll take a look to see who's here. SJ, hi, and there's Mark, the boat hoister. Hi, welcome. Okay, same as last week. I couldn't think of anything. Anyway, hi. There's Mike, Mountain Man. How are you, Mike? And welcome. And AWR, hi, welcome. Rivendell Coins, hi. I was just thinking about you moments before the stream started, and we'll get into that in a little bit. BC Treasure let's change it. All right, let's make it BC Treasure Tales. No, okay. Trails, hi, welcome. And there's Sandy Riser. She follows me everywhere, I tell you. There's actually a joke there, but we'll let that one go. Hi, and welcome. And here we are back at the Emporium. And I tell you what, we have had a week, past couple of days, and just strange stuff happening, and I tell you. But anyway, I tell you what, just things don't go as planned, but when they happen positively, then it's kind of a good thing. But oh my goodness, stop auto-correcting me. Mark. Hi, Narc. There you go. There's Mark's new nickname. Mark, you are now Narc. For a while there, it was Ark. And but no, it's now Narc. Thanks, SJ. Anyway, welcome to the live stream. I have no idea where to begin. I know we got stuff talking about, and Strang stuff happening. There's Strang stuff happening, and it's always aliens that are the root of it all. I thought there was we stopped blaming the Illuminati anyway, but welcome to the live stream. I don't know where to start. I got all this crap ready to go. And I don't know where to start. How about if we just start that? No, I did not go digging Friday. Instead, went shopping, and I had a weird turn of events. And we'll go on from there. And I missed you too, SJ. SJ, I tell you what, the biggest. The best show, and I said this probably years ago, and I'll say it now, but the best show that I think you ever did was the live streams from the coin shop. I tell you, always enjoyed that. But crap, hopefully you have RTHE toilet paper. Always gotta have a yes. It comes in handy. But anyway, gang, welcome. And like I said, I don't know where to start, so we'll start, I guess, first place first. So anyway, this is the thing. Friday, I was only supposed to pick up two things. I was supposed to not be care if I buy work pants or not, but I was supposed to buy a pair of work pants. That's how it all started. I was supposed to buy a pair of work pants, but I thought on the way, I was going to stop at two different places. I have a friend who has booths in the antique co-op. And I'm also was in the hunt for, I have a client who's looking for a particular coin and is in a hurry. So I'm like, well, I can possibly get one from either place. And strangely enough, I did not find, actually, I even made a third stop where I was unsuccessful at the first two. I actually made a stop to my local coin shop just to see if they possibly would have one graded and etc. And he does, but doesn't. He is so far backed up with NGC. He says he has no idea when he's getting coins back. He says they used to blame COVID, but now he says that COVID should be no longer an excuse. And he says that he's got stuff that's just been out there to them and hasn't gotten anything back. Team Ledge, hi. So anyway, I jumped ahead of the story, but anyway, so while out, I picked up these. And I, again, not planned, these giant shadow boxes. And really wasn't in the market for a shadow. Yes, I was. But I wasn't in the market for a shadow box just quite as of yet. I had an idea to get one. But these were real glass and real wood. Real glass, real wood. But anyway, and I thought for $10 a piece, since they're not cheap, why I felt couldn't beat it. So I picked up two of those. And while there, and we're going to get into this in the coin segment in a little bit, but I picked up one coin that's in a holder that says it's a 1744 English silver. And we'll get more to that because I'll give you a clue. It's not. And so I think I've gotten a little bit of a bargain, but I'm going to open that live during the stream and see if Riser got taken or not. It'll be fun, but that'll be coming up in a little bit towards the little end of the coin segment. Now, also while out. Okay, so I call a buddy of mine and say, hey, I'm on my way up to your shop. And he asked me if I knew who Pistol Pete was. And thinking back in my mind, I'm like, yes, I do. It's Pistol Pete Reeser. That's right, gang. Spelled the same. And there's kind of a connotation to that. He was a Brooklyn Dodger back in the early 1940s. Pete Reeser, otherwise spelled the same, but we'll say no relation, but possibly distant. But anyway, yes, he was. And yeah, so we're having this conversation as I'm driving there over the little voice thing over the car phone. And so anyway, I was like, yes, he was a Brooklyn Dodger. And he goes, there's stuff here. He says there's just oodles and oodles of this guy's stuff here in the shop right now. He says, it's neat because it has your name on it. And I'm like, well, yeah, no. I mean, he was Reeser, I'm Riser. But yes, it's still spelled the same, blah, 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 blah. And he says, there's even a bat. And I'm like, well, that's intriguing. And I thought to myself, well, that's neat. Not really wanting to get, I'm not into baseball. I'm not into sports. But it seems like the Emporium has done more business right now with sports than anything else. That's actually a whole nother story for a whole different show. So anyway, I get there. Now I was only going there for two things. I was there to spend approximately $16. And this is actually what I was going in there for, is one person at the booth had these old magic magazines from the 1940s. You want to talk about something that's niche, okay? Even for the 1940s, these magic magazines were oh so niche, okay, because they weren't very highly popular, but they are neat, and I thought they would look kind of neat framed and etc. And so this is actually what I was going back up there for. But anyway, the Sphinx magazine, that's right. So that was the only reason I was stopping in there. Was not stopping in for baseball. But nevertheless, so the first thing, chasing ghosts can be a sport. And so I get there, and of course we do our typical banter and whatnot. And goes, you want to see that stuff? I went, yes and no. I have no interest in it whatsoever. And I says it would be neat to see because it's got my name on it, a baseball bat. So I bought it. And it is a hutch. Well, it's backwards. It's upside down. It's a, can I do this without putting out the window? Hands over. Hutch baseball bat. And in my opinion only, it is in real good shape. And you can see right there, riser style. That's right. Meaning Pete Reeser style. But anyway, you can see it's in really great shape for the air. And of course, we got the electrical tape down at the bottom. So I was excited. I thought, okay. And I told the dealer as I was standing there, I was like, it'd be neat to have I know where it comes from. I know what it's supposed to represent. I says, I am not a sports guy whatsoever, but it'd be neat to have a bat with my name on it. So it says, I tell you what, if you want to sell it, give me a price that I can't walk away from. So she did. Fine, great, and happy, willing to leave, willing to go do something else. However, she says, there's this other stuff. And again, just not interested in it, whatever. But I wish I could show everything. I have some stuff, baseball cards, photographs from the wire services, from AP, International Press. It's just a whole conglomerate. And we don't need a DNA test. Pete Reeser had a habit of injuring himself. And I tell you what, the more I was getting into it the other night and more I was doing research, and here you can see another photograph of him, and really was not planning to buy anything sports related, or for that matter, ever again for the Emporium, but it just sort of just happens. This is when he was with the Braves. He went from the Brooklyn Dodgers to the Cubs to Pittsburgh Pirates and then Braves. But yeah, he was actually very injury prone and got traded quite a bit after the Dodgers. And I don't have one of the famous photographs of him up here. I actually have a really nice photograph with him and Branch Rickey, the Dodgers manager, when he was signing off his 1947 Dodgers contract. Very nice piece. And so while standing there, I told her, I said, I have no interest in buying any of this. I says, but like with anything, you give me a price I can't walk away from, and I'll yeah. She did. So I came home with just an entire bag of not only the bat, but also an entire bag of Pete Reiser memorabilia. And to share with you folks, so who this guy was, I did have Wikipedia pulled up for an article about him. And the thing of it is, I like the Wikipedia article. However, I thought there's actually an obituary. They saved everything about this guy. They were really a fan of his. But I thought this obituary actually did a better job of explaining who this guy was. And did you get the work trousers? Yes, about 3 or 4 hours later than I was planning to. But anyway, Leo DeRocher said about Pete Reiser that he was the best young ball player he had ever seen. Of course, when DeRocher said that in 1940, he hadn't yet seen Willie Mays. When Pete Reiser died Sunday at 62, this is back in 1981, in Palm Springs, a little bit of the old Brooklyn Dodgers died with him. DeRocher and general manager Larry MacPhail waged a giant-sized war over his use. DeRocher wanted the kid on his team, and MacPhail demanded he be sent back to the minors for seasoning. It was Pistol Pete and his shortstop buddy, Pee Wee Reese, who were the final links in building the first Brooklyn pennant winner in 21 seasons in 1941. Real quick, you can actually still listen to the 1941 World Series right here on YouTube. I was actually sampling quite a bit of it the other night as I was doing the research and whatnot. Baseball takes on a different element when listening to it. I probably haven't, every now and again, I'll listen to a football game still, even though, yes, we could watch it on television. But anyway, even the announcers, the broadcasters, were so different. They had to be descriptive. They had to go in detail to voice out what they were seeing and relaying it to somebody who wasn't watching it. Something that you don't have today. Today's broadcasters are used to you watching it. So they take for granted that you know what they are talking about. The announcers for the World Series in 41 not only was going into descriptive detail as the players made the field, announcing who's going where, who's doing what, but he's also sneaking in the commercials while doing so. And they actually say that during the World Series program. They say, hey, Pee Wee Reese is going to be the catcher. And behind him is the advertisement for Gillette blades, and he's going in there, and it is just nonstop. I can't imagine it. Years ago, when I was young and was into radio, speaking for 4 hours nonstop, I can't imagine. I mean, back then, radio, you had the automated commercials, so it was easy. You got a break every so often. I only do this for an hour. I can't imagine those guys just hammering out the entire show for 4 hours straight. It had been a strain. But anyway, North Caldigger just lost internet for a minute. It's storming and blowing here. Uh-oh. And but anyway, back to the obituary. Pee Wee Reese, he says he was one hell of a ball player. And they talk about me getting into the Hall of Fame. If he didn't get hurt, he was a lock for that. He was as good a player as Stan Musial. Reese and Reiser lived together in 1940 and 41 in the Granada Hotel in Brooklyn. He was a heavy smoker even back then, Reese recalled. Then we went to spring training in 1942, had dinner with Dixie Walker and his wife one night in Daytona Beach, and Billy Herman and his wife, and decided to get married, the two of us. When we were came back and told McPhail and Durocher, they almost split a gut. They didn't believe in players getting married during spring training. Harold Patrick Reeser, he got his nickname from a movie serial called Two Gun Pete, was born March 17th, 1919 in St. Louis. He and Reese were married the same day in 1942, two different women. And when Durocher lost track of both of his youngsters, only to discover they had skipped practice together to serve as the best man at each other's weddings. Reeser was an amazing athlete. He had come out of St. Louis and was signed in 1937 by Branch Rickey's brother, Barrett, a St. Louis scout. The signing was declared illegal in 1938 by then Commissioner Kennesaw M. Landis, and Reeser was set free. Basically, they had a habit of signing guys right out of high school and weren't really old enough to be signed as of yet. Reeser could hit and throw from both sides. He was a marvelous outfielder and a daring base runner who would lead the league in steals in 1942 and 1946. He would team with Jackie Robinson in 1947 to bring back the steal of home as one of the most exciting plays in baseball. Actually, one of the I actually have a photograph of it. I believe it was one of the World Series where he actually got injured stealing a base. He was actually, again, we're talking about a guy, eventually, I don't know if it's in this article or not, but they described him as a player, as somebody who has reckless abandonment. Basically, he was out to make the play with basically no care of what he ran into. And if this article doesn't get into it, I'll get into it in a little bit. I thought I had that one, but maybe I have it actually to be worked on. But anyway, I have actually a famous photograph of him being injured, sliding into one of the bases. His leg had already been broken, and the guy's out there sliding into bases with a broken leg. But anyway, back to the obituary. I remember when I first saw him, said Al Campanis, the Dodger GM, who was in spring training with Reeser. It's hard. It's the same name. Reeser in 1942. He got down to first base faster than any player I ever saw. In one game, he hit a bullet line drive to second base on one bounce. Umpire Larry Goetz made a quick call and called him out. Reeser had beaten the throw. That started Goetz's custom of making delayed calls just to check if Reeser had indeed beaten the play. As a first-year regular in 1941, Reeser had one of the finest seasons any player ever had. He won the batting title with a .343 mark, had 14 homers, and 76 RBIs, and led the league in slugging with a .588 mark. Reeser stood only 5'10" and weighed 185 pounds at his peak. If we were related, I wish that was hereditary. He was a marvelous center fielder, but he ruined his career with his aggressiveness. Okay, we're going to get into it a little bit. In 1942, he crashed into the wall at St. Louis, hitting the concrete so hard he sustained a serious concussion. He was given his last rites, but soon recovered. The Dodgers didn't. They blew the pennant. Warning tracks were later installed in many parks as a result of Reeser's crashes into the walls. Not to mention the padding. Padding eventually became a common thing. Reeser was away in the service from 1943 through 1945, injured himself several more times in Army games, and returned to the Dodgers in 1946. He helped the Dodgers win the 1947 pennant with a .309 batting average. He was also involved in one of the most controversial World Series plays ever. Bill Bevins had a no-hitter going for the Yankees in the 47 World Series. With one out in the ninth, Carl Furillo walked. Johnny Jorgensen fouled out. Al Gianfrido ran for Furillo and stole second. Reeser, who was hiding a broken ankle, we're actually talking about this one now, limped to the plate as a pinch hitter. The dangerous Reeser represented the lead run, and manager Bucky Harris ordered him walked. And anyway, it goes on to say that he basically slid into one of the plates and busted his leg. But anyway, neat player. He actually I haven't gotten too far into this, but supposedly he did a inside the park grand slam. And I kind of would like, I hope that is somewheres available to be listened to. But Pete Reeser, who would have thought it? But anyway, so we have a bat which is staying with me. That's not going into the Emporium, but all the other stuff, the photographs, there's actually a comic book from his rookie year, drawn by, see if I can remember this, Jack Binder and Curly Binder, who were artists who did a lot of comic books from the 40s and 50s. They even basically combined talents with Stan Lee for a little bit. But anyway, a lot of that stuff going into the Emporium, bat staying with me. And I tell you what, neat stuff. But if you ever have a chance, do listen to a baseball game. You do it over the YouTube, and it's actually quite entertaining. Even for a guy who's really not into it anymore. I haven't watched baseball since Mike Schmidt retired from the Phillies. What's that? Back in the 80s. Hi, Deej. And but anyway, other than that, should we start with coin stuff? I'm checking up here if we got anything else that we have got to see. I'll try and catch up with chat a little bit. And I kind of like how they keep saying that he played with reckless abandonment. It wasn't so much he was a klutz. He was just always out making, just overly focused, making the play, and maybe not. He couldn't have depth perception problems because he was able to catch the ball, but always running into the backfield wall. I don't know. It sounds very comedic, actually, but at the same time, and players were different back then. If you were on the injured list, now back then it had the connotation was he's on the injured list, and you actually felt some kind of way about not being able to play, not being on the team. Now being on the injured list and how large those injured lists now for any sport or any team, I tell you, Ty Cobb was probably the meanest ball player. There's Mrs. B. Hi, Mrs. B. So anyway, that's about all I can think of about the Reeser thing right now. All that stuff will be, except for the bat, will be going into the Emporium, and really fun getting down and gritty with the research and kind of touching on different things as we go along. But anyway, neat stuff. But I wonder if they could ever do like it'd have to change the name, of course, because it's funny, but it's not funny how many times he ran into the back wall. I believe, actually going to check it out real quick, as far as his injuries, because it's actually quite amazing. His baseball career lasted as long as it did. Skull fractures. see if I can find it real quick. He had like 8 or 9 concussions. He had a skull fracture. Obviously, we talked about him breaking his leg. But yeah, he just was a train wreck as far as injuries and whatnot goes. But anyway, that's as far as we can go. But anyway, catch it back up with chat a little bit. Mr. B is loading the dishwasher. Put him to work. That's right, Mrs. B. And oh, happy birthday to him, by the way. Happy birthday to Mr. Borden. And it's his birthday. He has to load the dishwasher. Wait, I don't know. And birthday's over, Mr. B. Load the dishwasher. And but anyway, welcome to the live stream. Let's get on to some coins. Let's talk about coins and coinage. Now, Rev, if you're still here, I was talking about, or not talking about, but you will soon hear, coins and coins with holes in them. And we're going to start with this little bugger. And I'll show it up here first. Now, I actually paid too much for this because of what it is. I won't reveal what. I didn't pay all that much money for it. Is it a largie? It is a largie. But I just like it because I know what that hole is. And we'll add this to the stage here. That's not right. Let's do this instead. That's right. And because I knew what that hole was, obviously this coin has a little bit of a different meaning for me. This is a largie. I don't know if I can see the date on this or not. I know it's 18 something. I can't make it out if it's 1823 or 1833. Who knows? Maybe under the camera. That looks more like a 2 now that it's under there. And oh, there's the dishwasher guy. Happy birthday, Phil! And but anyway, there was and basically, if you want to know more about this, I do believe Rivendell Coins has a video about hold coins. And I don't know if he covered or not about coins being nailed to houses and whatnot. I'm pretty sure. I was going to go back and rewatch it, but I ran out of time. But yes, that's right. That hole is rectangular, and more than likely it had a square nail through it, and more than likely attached to a beam, which was a superstition way back when. It may still be. I don't know. But I knew what it was. I thought it was neat. I paid for it, and it's mine for now, until I get tired of looking at it, until I want to clean the desk again. But and of course, I imagine it was face out the way that, shall we say, puncture is. And but I thought it was neat. I probably paid too much for it. But again, like I said, I wanted it. And I mean, I say too much. It was a couple of bucks. But I mean, in the world of numismatics, it's actually basically worthless. And we're actually going to get into another hold coin here in a second. And I just thought it was neat. This one area is actually where I got it from. It is a quasi pawn shop, and every now and again you'll have somebody somewheres with their metal detecting finds going, and yeah, unfortunately. And I do believe that's what that was. And unfortunately, what you're about to see next. See if you guys can see anything wrong with this labeling. So it says 1744, English, silver. See if you guys think this is a 1744 English silver. As I take a sip of water. Well, gang, that would be a Negative. Yes, gang. That is a real. And no English silver. What would I don't know. But anyway, we're going to see. I don't think I showed the price of it. And we'll just say I didn't pay that price. I always talk them down because that's who even with the Reezer stuff, I don't know. It might be me. Might be negotiating skills. We are actually going to take this out of the holder, and there's two things I really want to look about it. Does it look right? Yes. Is it toned right? Yes. It's has strange wear marks, but we'll get into that for a second. Rev, didn't you do a video on hold coins, or am I tripping? I could be tripping. I wish I was tripping to Florida about now. But we're going to take this out of this holder. I should be cutting it instead of trying to rip these staples out. I tell you what, Professor Peavy would be having a cow if he saw these staples in here. Ha! Got it. Yes, it was an AWR Friday stream. Good, good. I will actually try see if I can't find that and link it to this video, since we're dealing with two old coins. Realness. I wonder if I should cheat and look at it first. I did. Wow, is that worn? 2 real and 1744 Mexico City Mint. And a lot of it is worn. And but I think for the price I paid for it, I couldn't go wrong with it. What do we do with it? Why did I want it? Well, I don't know. I can never pass up a real. And we'll get to that in a second. No, I'll do it now. So obviously, I couldn't find the one thing that I was looking for. I was looking for a client. I was looking for a slabbed flying eagle. And so after going to both of these places where sometimes I can pick up coin deals, I decided to stop to the local coin shop. All this before getting work pants. And so I go into the local coin shop, and the reals he had just wasn't impressed. And that was actually when we started talking about the NGC. He says, yeah, I got a couple with NGC, but who knows when we're getting those back. So I said, well, shoot me an email when you get them back, because I would like to see it, blah, 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 blah. And so I asked him, I says, do you have any reals? And he goes, you ask me every time you're here. He goes, I don't have any reals because you buy my reals. So I can't keep reals. You buy the reals. I have no reals. So, anyway, needless to say, he didn't have any reals, nor did he have any decent flying eagles. That's okay. Stuff inventory always changes. But yeah, I in a way I kind of felt proud that I was his real shortage reason. But anyway, back to this. We're going to share our screen here and take a little more in-depth look at this. As soon as I remember where to hit the button. Present. Share screen. Share screen again. Realis. Share. And yes, by all means, I would much rather dig one. But I have not dug a real that old. I think my oldest real that I've dug is in the 1770s. No, that's not true. I have one from 1732. But where, you ask? That is probably in the safe. But anyway, let's get on to this. 2 reals, Felipe V. Issuers, Mexico. Yes, we saw in there. That was from the Mexico City Mint with the M with the little circle above it. And standard circulation coin. Years from this design here is from 1742 to 1750. This is a 2 real. And on the one side here, Where's my pointer? I found it. Unfortunately, as you're seeing on the screen, can I see my pointer? No, because I'm not pointing at it. There would be an R here, and here would be the other numeral, which would be 2, because it's a 2 real. And unfortunately, they are completely wore off. Don't get me wrong. I think I have actually got plans for this coin. I think this might even become a necklace. Because also, too, my local coin shop guy, not only is he a coin dealer, but he's also a jeweler. And he was actually showing me some things that he was doing with some of his hold coins. And I was actually quite impressed with them. So I don't know. This may eventually go to him to actually be a necklace. I don't know. I keep kicking it around the back of my mind, but I don't know yet. But anyway, gang. So yes, the R would be on the left and the 2 would be on the right. And of course, on the obverse would be the globes. But anyway, obverse, crowned arms, shield, flank by value. We were just talking about that, the R and 2. The script is in Latin. Love the dead languages. Actually, I've been reading a little bit more about them. I've actually taken an interest in trying to learn more Spanish, starting to kind of dabble in French, all because of the stupid TV show I'm watching. And I also want to get into Latin. But it seems the more I'm actually seeing how Italian and Spanish correlate with one another, how there's many different cognizants, words that are similar to one another. It's just making it a little interesting. But anyway, I digressed. But anyway, translation, Felipe the Fifth, by the grace of God, King of Spain and the Indies, 2 reals. And on the reverse, crowned hemisphere with motto, mint, date, essayer's initials. And I was actually reading an article about the assayers just semi-recently, probably a couple of weeks ago. And I tell you what, gang, they had some harsh regulations for counterfeiters with the reals and the Spanish mints down in South America. Don't do it. It could possibly be the last thing you do. But anyway. And then, of course, we see the O over the M for the Mexican mint. And I tell you, neat stuff. Some of these can get quite pricey. And on the right of your screen, you've got some there that are slabbed and whatnot. I do believe I had eBay up earlier, and there was one that was not slabbed, but did it look nice. However, it was not slabbed. It had been cleaned, but it had some of the most excellent details I've ever seen. And with that, it came with a lofty price. But anyway, we did that. Reals. Who doesn't need a real in their collection? That's what I want to know right now. Who doesn't need one? And we all do. Oh my goodness, there's Mark. I want to try Latin as well, especially the Latin lady that lives. Not that kind of Latin, Mark. Oh my goodness. All I can think of is that poor lady. I don't know. Drum and detect. Hi. Welcome to the live stream. And Drum, is that your oldest? 1711? Awesome. So anyway, it was a very, very interesting Friday evening. We got through all that stuff. We got the baseball memorabilia. We've got the shadow. We've got coins, and it just seemed to run rampant. And by the time I finally bought work pants, it was going on almost 8:30 at night, which is late for an old codger like me. But anyway, and I felt silly. Should we do our Carhartt advertisement? I think we shall. For years, I've been a customer of Dickies work pants, the duck pants. That's right, gang. But lately, their duck pants and the quality of them just have gone down the tubes. And to the point where for a while there, we were shopping different areas, and I would look to see if they had the older ones versus the newer ones. Even tried online, had to keep sending them back, going, this stuff is junk. I want the old kind, blah, 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 blah. And then I gave up. I said, all right, no more Dickies. We'll find something different. And the trouble is Carhartt is so expensive, but people keep reassuring me it's better quality. It's better quality. I would love to see this newly acquired pants I got. Bought 2 pairs. I would like to see these 2 pairs of pants finish me out my career. That's right, gang. We're close to retirement. Hopefully, we're close enough where those will be the last 2 that I buy for work. But anyway. Oh, so okay. So real quick, I did not need to drive an hour away to go get these things because come to find out, Carhartt, they standardize their pricing. So basically, wherever you find Carhartts, it's all going to be the same price, no matter if you buy them from Tractor Supply or all the way up at the Carhartt outlet. So yeah, I could have just went 10 minutes away versus an hour. But yeah, if it didn't happen, I wouldn't have came across all this goodness, and we wouldn't have gotten inventory for the Emporium. So yeah, gang, call it what you will, call it fate, but nevertheless. Hi, Liz, don't fall off the edge there. No. Anyway, welcome to the live stream, and I don't know. I probably would have never noticed if you didn't bring it up. But very nice video. I tell you, really enjoying your editing. I tell you. But anyway, gang, that's that. That's what we got. And I tell you what a week. But anyway. That's about all we got for that. We'll try and get this off of there without losing anybody. We here. And one more look at it. Because I'm actually highly pleased with it. And we'll just say, even though I paid money for the hold largie, I paid next to nothing for this. Next to nothing. So kind of made up for it. Am I seeing something? Yes, I am. I'm now more excited about this, and I'll show you guys why. I swear I looked at this before I bought it. Sure enough is. I really didn't look at it underneath the coin cam. Oh my goodness. How can I be that reckless? Reckless, I say. That's actually also one of my favorite things to find on the Reals. And even though I brought it closer, I'm probably going to get it to focus. That there, I believe, is a counter stamp. Heavily worn. I'll have to check my own notes. Oh, we'll have to get into that too. I tell you, we've got notes and notes and notes about stuff. Anyway, I'll have to check my notes for that design to see if I got something that matches. But also, too, on the obverse, I believe I'm seeing, well, maybe not. Could those be a counter stamp along the edge there? I don't know. We'll have to look at this even closer. But anyway, gang, that's that. So anyway, in the course of rearranging the desk and working on coins, working on old stuff, getting stuff put away. Oh, my goodness. Why, in order to get rid of junk, I have to kind of condense it a little bit. So I actually started compiling all of my notes that was regarding Captain Kidd and Captain Giles Shelley, which, by the way, going through my notes was the best and worst thing ever. It showed me how much more work I've got to do, but also, too, it has gave me a little bit of new insight of a couple different things. And in respect to either both writing and to treasure hunting. I think this year I am definitely focusing on the bay. I'm getting a new machine. Oh, don't tell Sandy. In this before summer, I'll be getting a new machine to specifically run along the bay. And here's why. John Eldridge, who was eventually, believe it or not, pardoned. He was a pardoned pirate. And he was actually captured in the Delaware Bay. And make the long story short, after the pirates mutineered, basically Kidd and pirate, Kidd and Shelley. Shelley transported the mutineers back to the colonies. Kidd was coming back home to try and save his skin. But they were in the bay almost at the same time. They were within a week apart. And Shelley went from Madagascar to French Guiana, got stopped along Virginia, okay? And now we actually have documentation that calls Shelley a pirate, which previously was kind of on the fence with. He was doing shady stuff, but nothing that really cemented that label to him. Nothing that really said that Giles Shelley was nothing more than a trader as far as receiving and purchasing and selling goods. But now I think we can actually safely classify Giles Shelley as a pirate. And that is just, for me and my research, that is just because we don't see or hear of anything as notorious as Captain Kidd in regards to Shelley. When Shelley was by far, if you're going to measure success with the terms of money, Shelley by far was more successful than Kidd ever was. But anyway, gang. So basically, Shelley bringing back the mutineers from Madagascar, Kidd coming up the coast because he's eventually going to Boston and trying to make a bunch of excuses to his backers of what happened. So anyway, they both entered the bay roughly in between the end of May and the beginning of June. And once Giles Shelley hits South Jersey, southern New Jersey, then the little colony, he finds out from his backer that heads up, crap's coming. Need to don't dock immediately into New York. Basically, really short, nothing too immediate, nothing too telling, but basically, don't come to New York. And eventually, Giles Shelley, as he stopped in Cape May, Town Bank, 70 of his passengers, mutineers from Madagascar, run amok, get off the boat, and start running away. And we'll get into that in just a real second. After leaving Town Bank, Giles Shelley will eventually go up the coast. He will dock in near Sandy Hook and unload. And then he'll, from there, I believe he runs his ship aground in Red Hook. I don't rely on my memory too much, but yeah, you can correct me if I'm wrong. But anyway, in between all that, you've got officials going down the bay after going down the river and the bay after hearing that there's pirates down and one of them they think is Kidd. So these people start hightailing it and they capture one by the name of John Eldridge, who eventually does get sent to London for trial. So since we have all that, we also have records that tell us what John Eldridge had on him, or at least was accompanying him, because I don't think he could have carried all this. John Eldridge, at the time of capture, had 1,600 pieces of 8, let alone the weight of that is enough to where it has to be in a container. 249 silver plate, 20 Arabic gold coins, 1 gold box, 200 broken pieces of coin, 2 pounds of amber beads, which I really can't even visualize because I don't really think of amber as being all that heavy. But nevertheless, he had 2 pounds of amber beads. And then at the end, which I love how at the end of the letter, they're reporting back to London that, hey, I got this guy and he's got this stuff. At the very end, he said they kind of just gloss over the last item. It says various other adornments. What does that mean? I don't know. But so yeah, gang. I think it has actually become a mission of my life to find one of the original pirates / mutineers and find something that is actually highly tangible that we, with provenance, hopefully, we can connect an item to one of these individuals. And since I was going over my notes, I did find a couple of things that really stood out to me. I should share it. Do I have the capability of it? I don't know. Maybe. I wonder if I can share that screen. Let me see real quick. Video file. No, I can only share a slide. But real quick, one of the things in my notes I thought was interesting as I was going through and updating, because I wanted to get rid of a lot of that paper. So I'm digitizing a lot of my paper, making PDF files. And the things I like the most about putting them, digitizing them, is they're easier to search, putting keywords and then just being able to find it. Because I also found a lot of notes about stuff I have written and taken down and I've just completely forgot all about, such as this guy. This guy's name is Henry Mead. He was one of the crew members of the original voyage with a kid leaving New York to go to Madagascar, or actually going into the Indian Ocean. And he brought 20 books on board. And I thought that was very telling about this individual. Henry Mead was a first mate, and he actually dies of illness in Mohelia. And but this guy brought 20 books on board. And I kind of can guess what the one book was. It was probably, I would imagine one book would have been the Bible. I imagine another book would have been currency exchange and weights and measures if he's the first mate. I don't know. I mean, that's all speculation, but at the same time, it's just very telling. This guy in a time period where most of your citizenry is uneducated, he's taking with him 20 books on board, and it's notated in history. And believe me, in this time frame, in this time period, we don't have the luxury of knowing all the ins and outs of these individuals. So I thought it was very telling about this guy. And one other thing that kind of was, as I was going through all of my notes about kids' crew and whatnot, there was a also too, as I was going through my notes, I was also going through the struggle too of spelling. Spelling was just not your not so much standardized in the late 1600s. So sometimes people's names were guessed at. And we have one crew member by the name of Isaac Deans or Deans. And he was from Burlington, New Jersey, and he was a baker in that small community, which basically Burlington, New Jersey in the 1690s was roughly probably better than 200, 300, 400 people. So, but the thing is, why would you want to leave his bakery and go aboard a ship? At the beginning, Kid was paying high wages, higher than most. And also, too, Kid advertised. He advertised for a crew from as far as Maine, as far south as North Carolina. So, I don't know. It's just intriguing stuff I'm coming across as I'm going through my notes, getting them digitized. And I tell you what, it's always been my search. I never wanted to find Captain Kidd's treasure. I only wanted to find one of the crew members Besides, what would 16 in decent condition, and if you could actually have provenance, what would 1,600 pieces of 8 be worth today? Add a couple of zeros, it could be a pricely sum. Not that it's all about money, because really, after somebody finds out that you found it, you're gonna be able to keep it. But anyway, what would the centerfold of a 1690s Playboy look like? Imagine it's drawn. Oh, I had something else that we got. Also got this painting picture, and I haven't done much with it yet. I want to take it out of the frame to see if this is an actual watercolor or it's a print. Now I'm leaning towards print because of how. Not going to be able to see. I could put underneath the coin can. That signature kind of has me thinking that it is not a actual watercolor, but a print because of how crisp and clear that signature is. But anyway, this is Independence Hall, and I think this is the way everybody should know it and look at it. And because I think this is actually the front versus what we imagine, because you got the park and whatnot in front of it. Okay, but this side to me is important because you got this guy. That's a Commodore. Well, they don't like using that no more. They don't like saying Commodore, but that's John Barry, and he belongs right there because really, in my opinion, he wasn't as important as Washington, but he might have been the next guy down. And interesting stuff. If you ever have the chance, I don't have the book in front of me or near me, or I would actually give you the title, but there's a very, very good biography about John Barry and what he did during the American Revolutionary War. So anyway, there's that. This is actually for the Emporium. This isn't for me, but I thought it was neat. But I haven't had a price for it yet because I haven't quite figured out if it's an actual watercolor or if it's just a print. I got to open it up. Why you folks let me ramble on and talk forever? I don't know. Because, I didn't realize how late it was getting. I don't know. I better check with chat. But being stuck on a ship full of guys, I really would not care what she looked like. It was bad luck, they thought, back in those days of having females aboard. But anyway, and Your Majesty, the Pirate Eldridge had a riser baseball bat. I don't know. And I'm going to start counting. But anyway, the next time I watch the stream, take a shot. Actually, it could be a drinking game. And then be totally blitzed by the end of the live stream. Arg! Oh, that's right. I want to be a lady pirate. We had those. There was actually even a Chinese female pirate who was very notorious. In fact, I came across her by accident. I was reading stuff about the Yakuza, and she came up. And I don't remember off the top of my head how that was all correlated or interrelated, but somehow just sidetracked completely off on that. Uh-oh. Guess I'll be getting new ghost hunting equipment. I always telling myself. We joke about it, but she doesn't really care. But anyway, Drum says, he's old stuff. And anyway, I think I might have caught up. But anyway, gang. We did it. Keep going, Charlie. I tell you. Well, that's really all I got for tonight. And then some. But I there's a couple of things for the channel I do want to do. I don't know. But I actually want to start again. We used to have the Minutia Minute. And I started doing a couple of Captain Kidd videos. And I stopped because I kind of wanted to have more of my research down before I went further. And now I think I just blew past that mark to the point of where I'm so getting into a new area where I'm going real deep and heavy into the papers from London, and which is so revealing, so telling, both on the political aspect and whatnot, and how they're trying to manage or mismanage the colonies. And it's very political. But so I'm into that heavy, and I think I can actually safely do a third without coming off wrong. Anyway, so that's something I want to do eventually. And but yes, I cannot wait till I get all of my notes digitized. It'd be so much easier to search things as I'm finding out now. And it's actually, yep, helping clean the area. And of course, yes, we've rearranged the office. Matilda is, or yep, she's still back there, and everything else. I might move that over a little bit. But yeah, I had this area completely clean and cleared, and then just. But anyway, yes, Jason is full of semen. Anyway, but I tell you. Well, anyway, gang, I ran out. That's all I got. That's new and pressing. And if anybody's interested in any of the baseball junk, hey, we got loads of it. And you can check out the eBay store or on the Facebook Marketplace or on the links. I'll be listing some stuff on there as well. Start swabbing the deck, Mark. Actually, God, Riser, stop talking. I actually came across an interesting video relating to that. And I have to pull it up. I can only do it verbally because I can't share this during live. I haven't watched it. It's in one of my watch later things that's now getting close to 100 videos again. And but I'll get around to it. There's this one channel I do watch about pirates. You can find basically it's Swab the Poop Deck, you cabin boy, the 5 worst jobs on a pirate ship. And the the channel's name is Gold and Gunpowder. So yeah, do check them out. Entertaining. And it's okay. They do live streams every so often. But anyway, gang, that's all I got. Do check out. We may be going live one night this upcoming week with a couple of things. So do check out for that. But in the meantime, do have a great week. Weather's starting to improve. They're taunting us or teasing us, saying that it's going to get cold and possibly snowy again. Just keep your fingers crossed. I like the warmer weather. I really should have gotten out Friday and today out digging, and it just didn't happen. That's okay. More, better weather days are coming. But anyway, gang, until next week, I tell you, don't forget to drink your water, go for a walk, and dive into some history. All right, gang. Until then, we'll see you next week. Bye now.